Between the 2010-2011 season to the 2019-2020 season, there were 10,433 goals that left fans speechless all across the globe. And that just allows you to sit down and see the excitement and unpredictability of the Premier League that set the stage for some of the best goals and moments the game has ever seen. And I want to first talk about 5,000 to 1, where Leicester City won the league by 10 points in the 15-16 season under the play of Claudio Ranieri, the Italian magician, and the many players that popped off during the season. Sure, you've got the brilliance of Kante, the finishing of Aloha, Okazaki, the saves of Schmeichel that went on after his dad, but don't forget about Jamie Vardy, who's got 24 goals, including 11 in a row, to become the Premier League Player of the Season. While don't forget about Riyad Mahrez, who had 17 goals and 10 assists to become the PFA Player of the Year, to smash many club records. So when you see Jamie Vardy's goal on screen and you think, why is he showing us this? Well, this just shows you the unpredictability of the Premier League and how moments can come at you just like that and take your breath away before you even realise. That's how heart-pounding the Premier League is. So let's review the Premier League's best goals and moments. When I think of PL moments and the difficulty of narrowing it down, the countless goals that defined moments in Premier League history. But these are just a couple that truly connected and resonated with my memories of the Premier League at its best. Anyone remember when Salah popped off and scored 32 goals in one season? Scoring brilliant goals like his Puskas winning goal versus Everton in the Merseyside derby. And brilliant runs on the counter-attack where Mohamed Salah shows his speed and ability in one-on-one situations to score brilliant goals versus Arsenal, where altogether in his time in the Premier League he has 178 goals. Salah is a picture of what the Premier League had towards the end of the decade. But wait, did you forget about Alexis Sanchez, the guy that scored 63 goals in his Arsenal career in the Premier League? Because I didn't. The Chilean that carried Arsenal on his back for multiple years, despite never winning the Premier League title, despite coming very, very close on a couple of occasions. But the Chilean wonder was a delight to watch. The skill, the goals, the assists, the technique, the dribbling, the Chilean sensation that won Copa Americas in his time in the Premier League. He was a joy to watch, and his goals against Manchester City and Liverpool as he was battling against the best, that despite Arsenal's lacklustre defence and times where Sanchez was the man that Wenger always relied on, he always delivered with his brilliant goals. Alright, let's run it back with some of the legendary goals that have seen the Premier League go by in the past decade. So we start off with a brilliant free kick for Dimitri Payet versus Manchester United. Dimitri Payet was one of the cult heroes of mine, a player that just didn't win anything, but a legend for West Ham in a way that his ridiculous ability on the ball, the way he moves the ball across was absolutely magical. But we move on to retro Harry Kane. Before he was a multi-goal scorer for Tottenham, where he was close to breaking Alan Shearer's record for most goals of all time in the Premier League. But just Kane, once again, at the start of his Tottenham career when he burst onto the scene as a brilliant little striker. Then we move on to Felipe Coutinho, who denied substitution from Brendan Rodgers to score an absolute banger. And that's classic Coutinho, scored free kicks, brilliant at stuff like this. A player that, before his move to Barcelona, was just popping up with brilliant goals from the free kick, his dribbling, his movement in midfield. He's that type of technical player on the ball. It was absolutely mesmerising to watch him play like that. And finally, we move on to a brilliant little strike from Charlie Adams. Alright, you know him, you feel him. It's next, the man, the biter, Luis Suarez, the guy that absolutely stormed Liverpool. And Torres to Chelsea in 2011, it was a big transfer, but was it undershined the Luis Suarez that joined Liverpool around about the same time. Despite being close to winning the Premier League, he won the PFA Player of the Year in 2014, where in total in the Premier League and in all competitions for Liverpool he had 82 goals. A bit longer and he would have been a Premier League legend up there with a couple others. Including, don't forget, his 4 goals versus Norwich, including 31 goals in a season, which was a record until Mohamed Salah broke that when it eventually, later on in this time period, he went on to win the Premier League. Suarez was an absolute legend for Liverpool. A player that just knew how to score goals, knew how to get under players' skin and could make things happen. Don't forget his dive against Everton, by the way, that really annoyed David Moyes. And don't forget another guy that traded red for blue, Raheem Sterling, traded the Reds to win multiple Premier Leagues with Manchester City. What a bio. So you've seen Suarez, you've seen the type of player he was that kept scoring goals and kept breaking records for Liverpool. You've seen Sterling, the man that was a brilliant young player at the start of his Liverpool career before trading red for blue. But have I told you about this player, Kun Aguero, the man that caused terror wherever he went? Before he left for Barcelona, he left the English League with 5 Premier Leagues, including the day where he beat QPR to take the title away from the other side of Manchester to write his name in the history books once again. He made Martin Tyler scream for generations to hear. Of course, you've got to also mention how in the 14-15 season he was the top PL goal scorer with 26 goals, just a fraction of the goals that Kun Aguero would go to score, which ended up being 184 goals in his Premier League career for Manchester City. What a player. The man that City could constantly rely on before he tried something new, but he left the Premier League as an absolute legend, and he is definitely one of many that made brilliant Premier League moments. So you can really just see the start of many Premier League players that came and made themselves famous in the Premier League. The many different personalities and types of players that made themselves famous and stunned fans for many generations. The circumstances surrounding unforgettable Premier League moments. So obviously in the 1920 season there were loads of free kicks. You can just start to see on screen De Bruyne, Trent, Mason Mount, Aubameyang, Mahrez. It was just chaos, and as Liverpool took the last title to finish off the decade, they managed to end the long wait of 30 years. Well, don't forget, Manchester United bowed out early in the decade, but they managed to send Alex Ferguson off in 2013 before City came and they begun their dominance. Leicester and Chelsea took the mid-decades, but City carried on their dominance as Pep Guardiola came and revolutionised the game, as he took his City team winning at the end of the decade to the start of the decade, as they begun their dominance. Aguero, De Bruyne, Silva, Torre, Edison, Walker, Diaz, company, legends of the game, as Pep moulded them into the revolutionary team they still kind of can be seen as today. So finally, when you think of players that defined the last decade, you think of Diego Costa. When if you're an Arsenal fan, every time you faced Chelsea in that part of that era, you knew that Costa was coming, and the amount of terror he caused, not just against Arsenal, but they fondly remember, despite the terror and the chaos that Diego Costa brought to the Premier League, he was goal ready. He had goals in him, and because of that, he helped Chelsea win titles. Like with Eden Hazard in the 16-17 season, that was Diego Costa. But like I said before, if you've enjoyed watching the Premier League moments, please like, comment and subscribe. Let's get more subscribers coming in.